Humans have explored nearly every biome on Earth, but when it comes to getting around in the ocean, we are clearly outmatched. Fish are built to ride waves and currents with ease. To effectively navigate the water, we need to mimic fish by wearing fins. One sea slug looked up from the reef to see some tasty resources and did something very similar. Sometimes there's more than one way to get past a problem, but other challenges require a single solution in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at LD Taxonomy, or visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Tristan Taylor, Jesse Raspulich, Carol Raspulich, and Richard Kaspar. I want to be more genuine. I feel like I am just reciting something that I've memorized, but we really do appreciate our patrons. They allow us to buy more space for our storage space for our these massive video files that we're working with. They allow us to buy the hosting subscription and get a nice microphone and a nice camera, not super nice, but these things allow us to deliver better content to you guys. So thank you so much to the people who have contributed, who are contributing. If you'd like to contribute, it's patreon.com/ldtaxonomy, and you can subscribe. And if you become a patron, you get to listen to us talk about just shoot the breeze for about 30 minutes before every episode, as we kind of warm up our conversational muscles, because we work from home, we sit all day not talking to people, so you gotta warm it up before you start the podcast. So if you'd like to hear us talk about Christmassy things and our favorite Christmas songs and flat earthers, you can subscribe on Patreon and you'll get access to all of that. But anyway, I wanted this holiday special, this Star Wars holiday special, to not be just my rote. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. I know it seems rote, but we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
And today we're talking about an imposter that's not among us, but among the fish of the sea. But more on that later. Among Us.
I've never played Among Us.
Oh,
I don't have enough friends. Mason doesn't want to play with me.
Well, that's rude of him.
I hand him a phone, and he locks me out of it for 5 minutes. That's all he does. But
this is coming out in the intertestamental period, right? In between
intertestamental, with the Old Testament being Christmas,
the New
Testament being New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah.
The old years and the New Year's. This is the Maccabean period.
Yeah, everyone get to the gym, go for a walk, have those digestive juices flowing while you are in between big holiday meals. That's my advice to you.
No,
there's a lot of calories.
This is where you eat. You're like, okay, I'm gonna start working out January 1st, so I'm gonna eat the cookies now. The cookies are here, and I'm gonna eat them now.
I mean, eat your holiday cookies, but also go for a walk, burn some calories, make some room.
True.
It feels better to earn those calories,
Yeah, I've got a lot of New Year's resolutions, and one of them is definitely to get back to exercising, because I've not really done that for the last few months because of how busy things have been. So I am excited to get back into that, even though I hate working out. I'm just excited to not feel gross all the time and to sleep better. But anyway, we're talking about the Philly-roe.
Yeah.
Yep. The Bet you know exactly what that is, listeners at home, just by
It's
hearing it.
eggs with cheese melted in it on a bun. Isn't roe fish eggs? And Philly like a Philly cheesesteak?
No idea. I thought a Philly was a horse.
That too. And it's a flyer.
Is it a flyer? It's a
Philly-
kind of
Philadelphia
flyer.
Flyers.
Oh. Yeah, never mind. Is that their hockey team or something?
Yes. Nice guess.
Oh, nice. Well, because I know that they're the Eagles for football, and the White Sox for
Guess what they are
baseball.
No, that's their Chicago.
I don't know what their baseball team is, and I don't know what the that was a good guess.
Phillies.
I'll take the guess. The
They're
Phillies.
just Phillies.
That's so
Yeah.
boring. That's like the Tennessee Volunteers.
That's where the Philly fanatic comes from, though. He's like the Green Monster.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
They're rabid baseball fans there.
I imagine
They're
they
known
are.
for being particularly fanatic, actually.
Yeah, but nothing like New England, though.
Oh, that made them froth. If they heard you say that, they made them froth at the mouth.
But like, New England is renowned for having insane fans.
I think so is Philadelphia, the Phillies. But
Anyway,
yeah,
sports, guys. This animal is called the Philly-roe, and we will explain what it is in several stages throughout the show. But we're going to call it the Phillyville Slugger.
nice. You didn't even know about the Phillies baseball team, and you came up with that.
Well, I was trying to find something for Louisville Slugger, and I couldn't find a good thing, so I just put Phillyville Slugger, and I did not know about the baseball thing. We're gonna call it the Crude Rude Nudie Branch. I guess the Crude Rude Nudie Branch dude. That would work. And what I'm gonna call it, Phyllis.
Phyllis.
Philly-roe Phyllis.
It's close to that, Phyllis.
I was gonna say something like Philly-roe versus Spade or something like that, but it didn't work as well as I had hoped. So these are the nicknames that we've got, and so it's time to taxonomize this. This is in a kingdom you know, love, and are in. That kingdom is Animalia. I don't think we're ever planning on deviating from that, so it's a good assumption to make. The phylum is Mollusca. It's a mollusk. The class is Gastropoda. We've been here. It's snails and slugs. The order is Nudibranchia or Bronchia. Probably Branchia. No, it's probably Bronchia, like bronchitis. The CHI doesn't make it a hard CH. So it's a nudibranch. The phylum is Phylliroidae. And the genus is Phylliroe. And the species is Bucephalum. So, Phylli-roe bucephalum is the binomial nomenclature for this odd-looking boy. But that, since we're in the business of naming things, brings us to my favorite part of the show, critter groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question. That question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? Or what is the term of entry? Or what is the collective noun? It's 3 ways to say the same thing, or ask the same question. If you saw a group of slugs, what would you call it? Would you call it A, a phlegm of slugs, B, a clod of slugs, C, a spit of slugs, or D, a harry of slugs?
Harry? Spelled how?
Harry.
Spit of slugs? That's fun. Let's do that. Final answer. Dang. Which one was it?
It's phlegm.
See, so my gut was telling me one, it was either spit and it made you think of phlegm, or it was phlegm and it made you think of spit.
Trying to follow
50-50.
my train of thought. So it's like you take all four options and you see like which one of these two things are the most related, and then it's probably between one of those two.
Yeah, that would be in that case.
I had to look
Now
at
it's
Claude
just-
to make sure it wasn't some sort of like really bad slur, but it just means a dumb
No,
person.
it's a person's name.
Claude? Oh,
Yeah,
Claude.
Claude.
Oh, I put CLOD like the way a British person would call a dumb person.
Yeah.
That insensitive Claude. But yeah, I forgot that Claude is a person's name. Jean-Claude. He's one of the French bees. So yeah, it's a phlegm of slugs. We have, I think we've done one other slug, which was the Elysian green slug.
Uh-huh.
And so this is the second slug that we have done in this show. Only two, the whole show. Apparently, we don't think slugs are all that interesting till today.
But they certainly are.
Would you like to hear about what this thing looks like?
I sure would.
All right, buckle up, Buttercup, because this one's a weird one. It is unlike you, Joe, to pick a deep sea weirdo. That is my domain. This is the domain of me. It's just
You're the
me.
Poseidon of this podcast.
It's me and James Cameron. This is the two of us down there. I'm thinking about it, and he's actually going there. I'm there in spirit. Because if goodness gracious, you can't get me to go down there in physical. That's too scary. But okay, so this animal, the Phylliroe, looks like an enchanted doodle of a squidfish that has come to life. It is like if the Elden Beast and the Spirit of the Forest from Princess Mononoke had a guppy together. It's oblong, so it's kind of has this cell oblong shape, this amorphous looking thing. Its body is completely clear. It's speckled with these little white flecks of light, bioluminescent light. You can see its semi-clear and also luminescent organs that line its body, as well as its I believe its circulatory system spreads throughout its body. It's red, and if you look at pictures of this guy, it looks like there's just this tarantula, this four-legged tarantula living inside this thing's body. It's got these four like spindle legs that go out in like an X pattern, with like the bulbous organs in the middle. So it looks like if there's a big spider, or like the Spidey symbol on Spider-Man's back. It also has two large antennae, which aren't actually antennae. They are called rhinophores, or long horns, even though they're not technically horns. They look like just the most spectacular slug stash. And it's pretty impressive. It's vintage man mustache levels. So yeah, I'm not sure if I effectively described this thing. I don't really have much more to say about it, outside of just describing its individual organs. But if you've ever seen like an electron microscope view of like a cell, and or not an electron microscope, just normal microscope view of a cell, it kind of looks like that, but very bright and shiny, and with a giant spider living inside. So I'm sure you're imagining the correct thing right now. Other than that, there's nothing interesting about it, and it's not in any sort of interesting shapes whatsoever.
Interesting. It is. Would you like to know about its size and dimensions?
Yeah, I mean, it lives in the deep sea, so it could either be, the size of a grain of rice, or it could be the size of a continent, and it could be a part of that gigantism thing that I'm so scared of. So
Yeah.
tell us how
There's
big
nothing
this guy
the size
is,
of a continent.
except a continent,
Yeah.
and one of those lion turtles from Avatar.
Welcome to the Love Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show, the part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. But by the last many episodes track record, it is not the part of the show that's introduced by you. Rather, it is the part of the show that's introduced by some sort of animal. And we don't have a new measure up intro this week.
We didn't get a Christmas miracle?
We didn't get a Christmas miracle.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have a new measure of interest, so we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. Is that
I feel under attack.
Is that A, a lion, B, a mountain lion, C, a sea lion, or D, a lionfish? Which you could argue is also another kind of sea lion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with sea lion there.
C for sea lion?
C is C for and C is for sea lion, and Cookie is for me.
And Cookie is for Catwoman.
Cookie is for Catwoman.
Final answer?
This is a sparrow with a machine gun. Yes.
That's the correct answer.
I knew it.
I knew that was very quintessential sea lion sound. I think it would have been harder if paired with like bovids. But I couldn't resist the lion theme.
Yeah, I've heard lions. They do make weird sounds, but I've never heard them make any of those sounds. We got lions at the Jacksonville Zoo, and when they roar, you can hear them anywhere in the zoo, which is cool. But
it's true.
And I've also spent some time around sea lions in South Africa, and I have heard them make that exact sound. So, and they also smell to high heaven.
I knew somebody in college that lived within a few miles of Lion Country Safari. And she could hear lions all the time.
Yeah, you can. The one time I went to Lion Country Safari, we camped out there, and you can hear the lions roaring all night.
That's cool.
It is cool.
And scary. Okay, let's talk length. They're between 2.2 inches. Oh, wait, before we get into the length, we got a suggestion, an animal suggestion.
Okay.
From Calvin himself. They've gotten a dog.
Ooh.
And they named him Maverick.
That's a good name for a dog.
It's the dog's name is not named after
Tom Cruise.
The late Senator John McCain, aka Maverick. Instead, it is named after the pilot from Top Gun. Because Calvin loves planes. But he asked if we could do dogs. Just Canis familiaris. And I put it on the list. We're not doing it this week or next week or the week after. But it's on the list and it's coming.
I'm not a witch. I don't have a dog familiar. I don't have a Canis familiaris.
Canis familiaris. Some interesting facts about that. They're also like, we know about them a lot, because we hang out. We, as humans, we're friends with dogs, so we know a little thing or two about them.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring my dog. No, that's a bad idea.
As a special guest?
That is a bad idea. No, Morph would be fine. Maybe he can sit in my lap while we podcast. And
They were special guests in the first episode.
Yeah, Yoshi barked a lot in our first episode, and yet people continue to go back there and listen to it, and not our newer, better stuff.
Yeah. So, okay, let's really talk length. They're 2.2 inches or 5.5 centimeters. So here's a Jeopardy-style question for you, and the second one will be a traditional math-related question. So this body of water is 48,960 Philly-roe across at its widest point. What is the body of water? Here's a hint. It's widest at the city of Edfu. And the river is also 26 to 36 feet deep on average.
So it's a river.
It's a river.
Near the city of Edu?
Edfu. EDFU.
Eat food every day. I don't know what kind of what I was hoping that maybe the name
for you.
But the U is just the U. I was hoping that maybe the name of the city would give me an inkling into what country this was in.
Yeah, it does. It could go a lot of ways.
I mean, it could be Brazilian city. It could be a Vietnamese city. Like I don't know. Edfu. I know that pho. That's that like Thai soup or something like that. Not that helps at all. I don't know.
It's 1 point something, 1.1.5
wide river,
maybe,
so
miles wide.
Wide river. I know the Amazon River gets really wide. I know the Yangtze River gets really wide. The Nile probably gets pretty wide. Also, Edfu could be any number of East African countries.
It could be a Chinese country too. It
doesn't really sound Chinese to me.
It sounds least South American, but it could be still.
It could be like a city named after like a local indigenous population in Brazil or something like that. True. I'm going to go with Nile. That's Nile River. That's my final answer. That's all I've got.
Final answer?
Just really shooting in the dark here. Yes. At least I know it's a river because that narrowed it down quite a bit, but Nile.
That is correct. The Nile River is 1.7 miles wide at its widest.
If you hadn't told me it was a river, though, I would have 100% gotten it wrong. I would have said something like...
You could have extrapolated that it was a river when I said it's widest at a particular place in a particular city.
Lakes can be wide at a particular place and then narrower somewhere else. Like
I don't even know how,
or a sea.
I can't even imagine how.
Like a long lake.
If it was a lake, I would say or like a sea, I would say it was like its widest between this city and this city. But yeah, you got it right, and that's 100%. Yeah, 100% on that one. Let's talk their egg clutch size. They lay relatively few eggs compared to their kin, with only 240 eggs per clutch. How many of the number of eggs used in a traditional 9-inch 2-layer cake go into the number of eggs in a Philly-roe clutch?
How many eggs are in the clutch again? What was the number?
240. Here's a hint. Eggs give cakes structure and cohesion. You can make a cake without eggs or egg substitutes, but they will be less firm and more crumbly. They also contribute to flavor, moisture, and emulsification. Do you know what emulsification is?
Is it like emulsion from
Yeah, do you know
Gears
what
of
that
War?
Yeah.
It's like a bubbly, volatile substance.
Is it a mixture between fat and sugar? Because that's what emulsion is.
I think in Gears of War, it's a mix of like lava
Lava?
and meth.
Fair enough.
Lava and meth.
How many cakes worth of eggs?
40.
40, final answer?
Yeah.
Correct answer is 60. Is that a nursing school?
No.
There are around
Because
4 eggs in a typical cake.
4. I said
2 to 4.
6. You said
6.
two layers, so I thought it was going to be like 3 in each, but
If you want a particularly moist cake, you might go with 6. I saw some people
love
said
moist cakes. Those
2
best
to
kinds.
6, depending on the type of cake. But 4 seems to be the gold standard.
6 every time. Eggs are great. Also, moist cakes are better than dry cakes.
That's true.
Objectively. You can't even argue it.
Yeah, dry cake is just cornbread.
If you like dry cake, you're objectively and fundamentally incorrect. You're eating cake incorrectly, and I'm eating cake correctly.
Maybe they just hate the word moist so much that they have to not eat it.
They have to eat the driest cake possible. Like they have to eat a cake that if when they cut it, it just turns into crumbs immediately. They have to
that's what
they have to take a straw and like vacuum it up. They have to.
I vacuum up all your cake.
They have to. They have to. They have to do a line of the cake in order to actually ingest it.
Oof. That's all I got for that. Do you have any fast facts before we get into the thick fact? The moist fact?
Thick fact. Yes. Very few. So because there's not a lot of information about this animal, it lives in warm waters across the world's oceans. It lives very deep down. And it likes to eat Zanclia.
Oh, same.
Mm-hmm. I mean...
Although probably not.
If you're not eating Zanclia, you're not living.
It does sound like an ingredient you'd read on a nutrition's facts.
It sounds like a... It sounds like a medication that would have like a mascot. Like... There's Mucinex, there's Nasonex, and then there's Zanclia.
But what I'm guessing it probably actually is a jellyfish.
Yes, it's a type of hydrozoan that you don't need to talk to your doctor about before eating because you shouldn't eat it. It's very small, predatory cnidarians, which it's basically tiny jellyfish. And the way that it eats them is it will take its slug foot and latch it on and consume it. Because this is a slug, so it's got a foot. It is a gastropod. It is a stomach footer. And I will leave it at that because I do not know how deep your major fact goes, and that is an intended pun.
The answer is not very, actually, in terms of the pun. But yeah, I'm calling this major fact fake fish. Hashtag fake fish. Phylli-roe are sea slugs, like we've been talking about, that have developed an anatomical form that is very similar to the fish of Actinopterygii.
Wow.
Interesting.
Done.
Most sea slugs live and move like slugs. Wouldn't you believe that? They crawl along the seafloor and among the coral. If they swim, it might be in a ribbon like a ribbon like pattern,
Like
or
the
like
Elysium sea slug.
Yes, yeah. But the Phylliroe swims, moves, and even acts similar to a fish. Even though they sport bioluminescence like the deep sea creatures, they don't live in the deep sea. They live in the open ocean close to the surface. So at that living depth and location, their biggest challenge is the fact that they love the taste of jellyfish and that they float on currents in the open ocean, not on the rocks and crevices of the seafloor. So to hunt in the open ocean, you need to become an adept swimmer. So what can a slug do to get better at swimming? It develops fins. So they locate fish with two long appendages near the front of their faces, which you mentioned in the description, called rhinophores, which are chemoreceptors. They they're detecting, basically sniffing them out. And these chemoreceptors, these rhinophores, come out of the sides of their body, similar to like a fish's fins, although closer to the face than where a fish's I forgot what those are called. The side fins would be. When they find a jelly, they start to act more like a slug, like you mentioned, by using their foot, like a gastropod does. Like gastropods use their foot to cling to surfaces like a snail. But in most gastropods, the foot is really long and it runs the length of their underside. Like their whole, everything you know about them is foot. Like the part of the snail that's touching the ground is the foot. That you see is all foot. But Phylliroe feet are much smaller, since they've devoted a lot of their anatomical real estate to develop a fish-like tail fin. But the small, sticky foot remains near their mouth, allowing them to cling to food and chomp. So not only do they have fins, they have a general body shape that is extremely fish-like. If you look up a picture of this when you're not driving. And so this is an example of something in nature called convergent evolution, which is when two different species develop traits that are very similar, despite the fact that they don't have any genetic relationship at all. We've talked about this among mammals. The best form to take is mouse form. So even animals that aren't like related at all can sometimes look similar to a mouse, like certain marsupials in Australia and like Indonesia looking mouse-like, even though they don't have any relationship to the rodent mouse.
There are a lot of mouse-like things and weasel-like things.
Yeah. So it's just that is a very efficient and tried and true form to take as an animal. So through generations upon generations of like living, the animals that don't look, that, diverge from a mouse form die, and the ones that conform to mouse form live. So you end up with a lot of mouse-shaped things. And such is the case with this fish-like gastropod. So this convergence often happens because animals live in similar conditions and they need similar tools. So the best form to take when getting around in the open ocean just might be the form of a fish. So even humans strap fins to their feet when they go snorkeling. We take on fish form when we get in the water, or at least mermaid form.
Fish.
Yeah, form of a fish. So that's all I got on that. I went through it really quickly, but
octopus and squid form also seems to work pretty well.
Yeah,
like jetting water out.
Well, definitely squid. Squid are like extremely numerous in the ocean.
Yeah, but the fastest thing are fish.
Yeah.
So I said that they live pretty far down, but then you said they live pretty close to the surface, and I was trying to figure out like where the discrepancy was and where I came up, why I put down that they live far down, and that's because I read that they live between the benthic and pelagic zone, and the benthic is the bottom of the ocean. The pelagic is the top.
They live between the bottom and the top of the ocean.
Or like their adaptation over the years has brought them closer to the surface. Because
I wonder if they travel with the deep scattering layer, because I was reading something that said they only come out at night. And what do you come out of in the open ocean other than the deeper ocean?
Yeah. That's true. Like, how do you come out of something when you're just swimming?
I bet I wonder if they live in the twilight zone. So when they come up with the deep scattering layer at night.
Imagine, if you will, a slug that looks like a fish. You think it's a fish, but it's actually a slug. You might just be in the twilight zone.
I love the deep scattering layer. It lives in the twilight zone, and it's a very Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah. It's like, hey, did you know that there's like a gajillion fish that make up the sea floor for a little bit?
Our fish will blot out the sea floor. Then we will
splash in the shade
above that. Yeah.
Then we'll sonar above it.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
Yeah, this is another one of those animals that like you got to look it up if you're not driving, and take a gander at this gander, because it is a crazy looking dude. There's certain pictures of it that make it look just like a clear fish with a mustache, a good one, a good mustache, but it's a slug.
Mm-hmm. It is a slug. It is crazy. Yeah, there's not a lot known about it. There's I wanted to talk about like their hunting and stuff, which I did anyway, but I knew I had to leave some of that for you because there was just not that much to talk about because we don't know a ton about it. But it's a slug that looks like a fish, and that's pretty neat.
I remember when I went scuba diving when I was in South Africa, and one of the people that was on the tour with me was actually a researcher that was observing and collecting nudibranches, little slugs, in the coral reefs, and so that's how I know that's my closest interaction with this order of animals. I didn't see any, but they said they saw some. I was trying not to die because it was my first time scuba diving, so I was a little bit more concerned with like breathing and nitrogen in my bloodstream. But they were finding all kinds of neat stuff. They showed me pictures of stuff that I swam right over in my panic. But yeah, so that is the Philly-roe. Unless you got anything else?
That's all I got.
So if you're out there in Podcastia, snack on some Nidarians, flex your impressive mustache horns, and impersonate a fish like the Philly-roe here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
In the Twilight Zone. T is for Twilight. Life, Death, and Twilight Zone. I like how my impersonation of the narrator from Twilight Zone is just Zap Brannigan.